Welcome back. So the other day we were working on this on putting Linux kernels from /boot partitions, and so we are going to be working much more with that. So what I brought down is that you want an additional option in path titles so that we have a custom event, and we also want more kernels and so on. So yeah. So let me take a look. So first of all, let's try to start what we have right now, and we see how all of this looks like. Linux from /boot partition. So we have this Ubuntu FS label, which is one of the systems that we want to boot, because I cannot read the fstab file here. Okay, and then we have this one here, which needs to be to the right. Okay, and so right now the way of how you've got this is like this, with these two spaces here. In theory, path menu. I mean, actually this two spaces, it's not two spaces, or is it two spaces? Yeah, 1, 2, 3. I wonder if I'm missing something here. In any case, we can add 2 more spaces here on the path, or maybe we can make an indent thing. Let's try to boot this thing from here. Let's try to make a real quick test. So this path title, what about adding 2 more spaces here, so that we manage to tell that this is path title, because the first one on this path title, which is path to check, it's path to check. It's not something that you need to be using to do all the stuff, so there's no need to save it here, but at the same time it's going to be used here with this path. So we have 2 more spaces there. So let's see if we can let's see if we can make a test about this. So this would be boot from the boot partition number 3, and now we should be able to, so def 43, and this is def 43, perfect. Now we should be able to test this again to see how it looks like. Okay. Let's go. If you have any boot questions, you can ask it. So boot manually Linux from boot partition, because I see that there's a beware, you know what I mean. Unless wait, maybe I'm myself, I'm not sure about that. Anyway, wait, don't we have that space there? What's wrong here? Wait a minute, are you kidding me? I was sure that this works as expected. So boot group std os detect tools. Path title, not this one, but the other one that calls this with Dora1 is OS detect boot Linux. We should even name this Linux boot instead of boot Linux, now that I think about it. Okay, let me take a look at the contents to make sure that we are actually using the same thing. Okay, so menu entry. Okay, so this run option should have around here this path title. So we have this path title with 2 spaces, and I don't see any difference. That's concerning. That's concerning. So there's no difference with 2 spaces. What about having this thing here? Is there going to be any difference? Hit div, add menu std os detect boot Linux stuff. So number 4, and didn't have to make a number 4 stuff. There's no need. I could just amend what I had just done. Okay, let's try now if this is working or not as expected. So number 2, boot manually Linux from boot partition. What the hell? No, this cannot be. This cannot be. I mean, why is it? Why this does not have? So pager equals 1. So the for loop regular file system. Oh, look at that, 2 spaces. This is not the regular loop. This is the BTRFS. That's why that it doesn't. Okay, so now let's add this and amend here, because why not? Reset. I mean, what the hell? I don't understand this YouTube, where people ask many stuff. Dev Sutar asks, I want video on the build Linux from scratch. I mean, you are very crazy if you want to build Linux from scratch. That's a lot of work. I can tell you 5 minutes of what Linux from scratch is, but you know, boot manually Linux from boot partition. What the hell is this? don't we still have? I don't understand this. So let me check real quick. Let me check real quick this thing about. Now we should have this. Where the hell are you? Now we should have this //dev here, path title, and it's ignoring as. Why? Why is that? Why it's ignoring us? We should have this. I don't understand any of this. What's going on wrong with all of this? Why this path title, the first one that we have here, which is the path to check, if it's different, you are going to print. Oh, wait a minute. The first one is dev, and it's the one that it's path is the second one. So the second one that you print is the second one, and the second one is actually used for anything. So it's the second one, the one we want to fix, to change. Oh my god, so it was the second one altogether. Now let's try and see if this is the first one. Okay, so hit div, menus, SGD, OS detect, boot Linux. So this is number 5, and now I guess that this is going to work as expected, because now I'm using the proper variable. Okay, so build Linux from scratch. Build Linux from scratch. Less than 5 minutes. So it's question 1. Building it from scratch, and then I say less than 5 minutes. Okay, let me save, and for the moment I'm going to try this thing here. Number 2. Now hopefully we can have some event. We don't have any event. Why is that? I don't understand any of this. So set pager equals 1 and then cut. Let me just check that we have already SGD OS detect boot Linux. Let's check that we actually have the spaces on the second one. Where the hell is this? Print. Okay, here it should have 2 spaces here, and apparently it's ignoring my 2 spaces that I have added here. Yeah, why would you do that? That's very concerning. Okay, so let's do 5 minutes of Linux from scratch thing real quick. So I don't know still why. This is Linux from scratch. Okay, look at that. Linux from Scratch is a project that provides you with step-by-step instructions for building your own custom Linux system entirely from source code. So apparently I didn't know that they have an automatic stuff. So yeah, so this is the minimal stuff that we need in order to work on Linux from scratch, LFS, and then once you install everything, you want more stuff you have beyond Linux from scratch. But the thing is that what you have is, you know, where the hell is that? So you have a source code in, let's say, one partition, okay? Let's say hard disk 1, or yeah, partition 1, and then what you do is you build a stuff. So you've got binaries, okay, and wait a minute. So partition, which has source code, you build this and you have binaries, okay, and then you have partition 2, which is empty. And so what you do in a second step, so this is the first step, you build the binaries. I mean, I think it's going to be like that. And then the second step, it's going to be copy binaries onto the partition, from partition 1 to partition 2. And then there's a third step of adding boot to the system so that you can boot onto partition 2 system. Okay, the difference is that how this first step build, you're going to have many sub steps. You're going to have build 1, build 2, build 3. So you're going probably to build Grub2 so that you can boot, to build the kernel, choosing your modules if you want or not, going to build models themselves. You are probably going to, I don't know, if you want genome, so build genome, build also core utils, I think they are called like that, core utils, and so on. So you have, instead of being a big step, you probably want any. So for each one of the builds, you have like a chapter of the LFS book which explains every step, okay? And that's what the Linux from scratch is, under 5 minutes. You know what I mean? I cannot spend more time on this. Hopefully you are online, DevSutar, and this helps you to understand what this project is about. You also have Gentoo, which it's a bit similar because you can build builds from source code, but it's not from scratch. Gentoo has a book, I mean has not a book, but has very good documentation. So gentoo.org, this has this thing, and if you search for Gentoo wiki, you are going to find a very nice wiki that explains a lot of stuff, okay? And yeah, this is very useful. But this is if you are only interested to build from source code, so that it's what's the name? so that it's faster to work, so that it's more optimized to your system. But if you want to learn how would you do all of these steps manually, then you have to use Linux from scratch. That's what you were, Linux from scratch, to learn in depth. Okay, so that's it. So let's get back to the Super Grub2 development, where I'm trying to put two fucking spaces and they don't let me do that. So let's try now that we know that it's the second one, let's try to do it like this in both of the options. See what the hell do I get here, unless what we are printing on the second one, it's always path is the second one. Yeah, okay. So once we have made this change, I can amend this. I can reset this thing, build this stuff again, close this thing here. Let's see how it goes now that we have these two stuff. Linux from boot partition. Okay. Now we have what I'm looking for. So we have two more spaces there. So this is what I want to do. Maybe we can put 2 points here so that it's not spaces. So apparently if you had changed this to some spaces, we lose everything. And the reason is because we're using this thing here. So I guess that when you call this, spaces are being lost, because that's what it is. But you shouldn't be losing spaces in any of this, if I'm being honest. Now let's try this again. 2 spaces here, 2 spaces here. We shouldn't be losing spaces in any of this. Let's try. So now we can see how this is not at the same level. Let's see what happens with spaces. OS boot Linux. So yeah, let's amend this. Let's build this again. And once it has been built, we are going to test it. Okay, so we have 2 likes. That's nice to have. So press ESC number 2, boot manually Linux from boot partition. We don't have the space, so we need custom indenting apparently. and that's concerning because I'm not sure it's going to be useful in the end. We add this thing here. Because so the idea is that we can do something like 1, 2, 3, 4, and the same thing should happen in path title, okay, down here. So we have 4 spaces, and so what we do is custom ident equals number 4. Oh wait, we are missing here. Yeah, wait a minute. We might not, yeah, but I mean it's better to have a custom ident here. But I think the right way of doing this, if with these double quotes that we were not using this thing here. Probably that's that's why we had this problem about the spaces not being taken into account. But if we do this like that, it's going to be much easier for this to work without too much of a problem, and it's much better this way. So basically you just have custom ident. I mean not here, but so we have custom ident here. So if let's try to copy this thing here. If this is empty, if custom ident is empty, okay, then custom ident it's going to be 2 spaces because that's the default that we do. Otherwise that's it. I mean, if this is empty, then we are going to have 2 spaces, and then we are going to have this thing custom ident here on the very beginning. We're going to have this custom ident here. So either we have 2 spaces because it has not been defined, which is the default one, or we have these 4 spaces here, which I think we were, the problem was this thing is here. So let me check this thing here. Wait. So let's say that this OS detect Linux, I can amend this, and now we can say something like all of these, hit add, so this is path title with custom ident. I mean, this is something that we wanted to have all along, so now we have it. Let's reset everything, let's build this thing again. And so if you have any Linux questions, you can ask them, okay, because I see that there's someone watching, at least it seems so, although I'm not very sure, if you ask me. Yeah, okay, anyways. No. Okay, now we can try this. Let's see how it goes. Boot manually Linux from boot partition. Oh, Look at that. Now we have 4 spaces and you can find all of the kernels of one partition on the same place with Linux kernel. I wonder if we have to add K on each one of these options so that it's obvious what you want to use, but I mean you have been Linux on the partition and so on, so yeah, so look at that. So this is this Ubuntu stuff with this Linux kernel thing, and this should be working. Yeah. Okay, 3 viewers. If you have Linux questions, you can ask them, because apparently that's what I do when I stream. I reply to Linux questions or boot questions. I mean, it would be better boot question or something related to group. Okay, so press ask. So now I can take a look at all of these and try to squash everything properly so that we can so the other thing that we are looking at is OS delete. This might need to be renamed, so let's try to work on that. Let's try to work on renaming this file, because I mean, why would you call this OS detect boot Linux if it can be called Linux boot? Because it's like you know, Linux boot. Oh yeah, menus std, isn't it? Menus std. So the idea is that we can just do this same thing, but with this file here, which get converted onto this one here, and we are going to change all of these in these other files that actually use OS detect main, and also in this one here, because the title, it's like this. So now we can do all of this into one commit. So what we have here is this thing here. So now it's OS detect Linux boot. Also we rename this, and this header is also changed. So this is like number 5 or whatever, number 6 of this. Let's test this real quick so that we know that it's going to work anyways. Once it has been built, we're going to test this. Okay, so press ask number 2, boot manually, Linux from boot partition. Now it's OS Linux, and we can have here the two second spaces here, and yeah, yeah, so we can test more stuff. But before doing that, let's squash everything together. So right now we have this thing here. Maybe we can check out create branch. Oh my god, I can create a branch from here, which is what I want to do. Check out. No need to check out this branch so far. Or maybe yes, I don't know. So this is going to be def 44. Yeah, let's check out the branch. Okay, so now I can go here and take all of this. So the first one that I want to do is to use this one here, 144, and then the rest of this. So 44 this one, 44 this one here, 44 this one here, and 44. Let's move this on 44 and let's move this on 44. Wonder now in 44 I can squash all of these. I mean, no, create patch. Anyways, so now that we are on this branch, which is 44, as you can see here, we can rebase something like 8 commits, and that's where we have path title with custom ident. And then we have all of this that we are going to squash together so that we have only one comment related to boot Linux from scratch. And look at that. I'm going to use this second commit message so that we have the right message here. And like that, we have an actual commit that makes sense regarding both links from both partitions. So we have this custom ident here that we have added here so that we can have custom ident with path title. And I mean, actually maybe it's something that we could use. And here we can see how we have this new Linux from boot partition stuff, which now has this new path. And yeah, and down here we also have this new LBP stub that we need for this to work properly. I mean, it's not very nice, but it works. So yeah, so now before pushing this, we can actually work with fetch 44. Let's do this. I mean, we can test. Wait a minute, I haven't done this properly. 44, and then you reset this, and you can build this thing again. Okay. So secure boot VM here. Look at that. Press ESC. Number 2. Boot manually in Linux from boot partition. Okay, it works as expected. So we wanted to add more kernels and stuff to see how it looks like when you have a lot of this stuff. Before doing that, let's test that we try to put everything together. You know what I mean? Config file, yeah, it's not allowed. Extractor, we know that. So we have all of these operating systems, EFI, Linux from boot partition, which also detects some stuff. So we have here this thing with Linux kernel, this other thing with Linux kernel, this other thing. I mean, if the label is too big, maybe we cannot see this with Linux kernel. HUD is not detected. Okay, in any case, let's just go into Ubuntu for now. Where's Ubuntu? So Ubuntu 113. Let's try to make more stuff from here. Now Ubuntu is going to boot. We're going to have many stuff here. Okay, so rescadex and rescadex. What's the fucking yeah. So basically what to do here is just copy VM Linux. So it's (106) init ID 106 VM Linux 515 56 init RD 56, and we put everything into the root directory. Okay, then we are going to reboot onto Debian, which is going to be much easier than doing anything else. So boot manually to Linux, and let's search for the Debian one, probably the most recent one. So rescadex, and so what you actually do is exactly the same thing. So we can copy from boot. I mean, let's go into boot, maybe it's much easier. We can copy VM Linux staff and init RD staff, and we copy it into the root directory, and we should be fine. So now number 2, boot manually Linux from boot partition. We should have all of these systems together. Okay, so we have this Ubuntu distribution, and you can decide that you want to use the kernels from Ubuntu. Look at that, which we have 3 of them, or you want to use the kernels from Debian, which we have here. Look at that. Okay, otherwise you can use Debian. You can try to boot Debian with Ubuntu kernels, or with, you know, other stuff here, which is the Debian ones. So let's see what happens if we try to boot into Ubuntu system thanks to Debian kernel. I mean, it's not the 15, it's 510, but this should boot us into Ubuntu if it doesn't explode. Look at that. We want to see how it looks like, because we have, oh, you are in emergency mode. Press enter to Scatox PC. Snap. Yeah, this is Ubuntu because there's in the snap directory. Why is this a problem to boot with? So if you take a look at here, you are on, this is a Debian kernel, as you can see, but if you go into issue, you can see that we are trying to boot a Ubuntu with a Linux kernel, and whatever the reason is, it's not working very well. And no, Control D, it's, yeah, I mean, apparently you cannot do too much with this setup here. Let's reset. Now let's try to do what you're supposed to be doing. So Linux from boot partition. So you can say, okay, this is an Ubuntu system, and now I'm going to use this Linux kernel. Wait, now the first one is found, the first one 113. So maybe it's how you copy them. So this was the first one that I copied, and then probably I have copied this one. So it probably uses yeah, it probably uses the date, you know what I mean. Yeah, so if you are watching us and you want to ask Linux questions, both questions or Super Grub2 Disk questions, you can do it. Okay, so this has worked properly to boot this, and I think we can say that this works as expected with all of this stuff that we have here. Yeah, okay, so just a matter of pushing all of this to, so is it 44 the one we want to push, isn't it? Because 43 has too much stuff, so it's 44, and yeah, so let's do this. Let's push 44. Let's push 44. Let's check out -b 45, and now from here we can do all of this, which is going to be 45, 45 and 45. We are almost there. I mean, we could even release Super Grub2 Disk, whatever version it is. Okay, so now we can build this just for fun. So in here we should have a commit. We can say that this has been fixed, and now if we update all the issues, we will find out that all of this has been fixed. So maybe I can ask the BTRFS guys to test the F44. Where's the BTRFS stuff? Where's BTRFS? I mean, is it open? BTRFS, here it is. I mean, maybe I should reopen the issue. Could you please test this thing here? In addition to the old boot options, I'm also interested in you to test the new option named boot Linux from boot partition. You might need to copy manually your VM Linux and in it are the images from both directory to the in order to simulate that you have a boot partition. Please notice that if you want to test this in your actual system, you might need to copy manually your from okay. Let's do this. Files from your boot directory to the okay. Very surely React OS. Welcome to Linux from scratch. Okay, so what are we missing here? So what's left? What's left and today is what's left? What's left? Open an issue forum post on React OS about not being able to select React OS, to pre-select a React OS entry. Okay. Then maybe get feedback on Arc or install it ourselves, something like that. What more stuff do we need here? Yeah, feedback from BTRFS guys from the boot partition option. yeah, so that's it. I mean, actually, React OS, nobody's going to complain if you don't usually you're not able to select anything, because so yeah, how much how long, how much time do we have to make a release here? Um, wait a moment. 15 minutes. Are we able to release anything in 15 minutes? I mean, I don't think so. Let's do this another day. Okay. So thank you very much for watching. Bye.